This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Hing.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to Begin Again, where intuition, optimism, and breakthrough strategies transform your blocks into silver linings. Reclaim the power you have within to begin again and achieve your goals. Now, here are your hosts and owners of the CTR Network, Cameron Steele and Lucia Davindia Steele.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Begin Again Radio right here on the Contact Talk Radio Network. My name is Cameron.
And I'm Lucia.
And we're happy to have you join with us today and want to say Happy Monday.
It is.
A happy Monday.
It is a happy Monday.
Indeed it is.
For some people.
Are you not happy?
You know, I'm a little frustrated today. You know, the whole aspect of getting calls and emails from your child's teacher, and having to deal with that. It's like,
you know, that's never any fun.
Happy Monday.
That's never, ever any fun. You know, and then of course, you know, you're trying to bang things out to get ready for the show, and you know, it's one of those days. You know, and yes, folks, we do have those days.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so funny.
As perfect as we are, I mean, you know, once in a while we have some days.
Well, it was funny because I was talking to a friend, you know, a long time ago, and she said to me, she goes, well, you guys just have a way of just, you know, like everything is always okay in your world. Everything's just, you know, it's just fine. Funny? And I guess, you know, it's something, for me, it's a learned behavior to where it's like everything's got a silver lining. And, you know, how is life going to be any better if I complain and sulk about it?
Well,
you know, I've got to do something about it or just allow myself to be, which is interesting because today's topic is being in the between. And that's a lot of the time where our angst actually comes up and our frustration, our anxiety, all those different pieces come together and we're like wanting to either freak out, pull our hair out, or slap somebody across the face.
Things aren't happening fast enough.
I don't know. You went.
Yeah, I know. I know. This is kind of one of those things that, you know, it's true though that, you know, you do sometimes in the in between you get this angst feeling, or you're frustrated, or you're like sitting,
you're afraid. You don't know what the heck to make of it.
Sitting on pins and needles, waiting for something to, you know, break. You know, like, you know, I don't know.
Like
it's
your
just,
water's going to burst.
I don't know what that's like. I'm sorry.
It could be popping.
Wow. Is that the sound that the baby makes? No.
Oh, it just reminds me I had such a weird dream last night, but we won't go into that.
Maybe save it for another time.
Another time.
Yeah, there you go. Write it down, though, so we can talk about it. Write it down, as Billy Connolly would say. You know, today's a great day because it is the in-between time, and, you know, we talk about Mercury in retrograde, and you know, this is where we're at. And
that.
Mercury, of course, in retrograde is sometimes the in-between. The in-between can be more frustrating because of Mercury in retrograde.
It can be intensified for sure because, you know, the whole aspect of Mercury retrograde, if you're not familiar with it, is that Mercury appears to be going backwards. Therefore, Mercury is associated with communication, and communication then, if it looks like it's going backwards, it's really not. It's just standing still.
That's right.
It then slows down or kind of can muck things up.
Right.
And what's interesting about it is during those times, if you're in an intensified time of communication, your mind can just be communicating all on its own, thinking all the things, the worst things in the world or the best things in the world, whatever. And on the other side, you know, not getting the response that you require or the response that you need to move forward. And then you're in that place of turmoil. And, you know, Mercury retrograde in the in-between times can be one of the hardest times to go through.
It's so true because I got an email this morning from a client who's been asking for their stats for their show. And this is, sorry to say, this is the third email she sent me. But,
nice.
You know, it's like a communication thing. And it's like I thought that I'd sent it. Because I remember doing
like
it.
So the conversations you and I have together, or they were really in your head?
That's right. So Julianne, if you happen to be listening, I'm so sorry. But, you know, I remember doing that, you know, and this is one of those things, you remember doing it, Oh,
but
right.
that was for last month.
But I didn't send it out.
Oh, so you did do it.
I did do it. Yeah,
but you didn't follow that.
I didn't follow through.
Well, I know. Well,
you know,
I sent an email to Barb, and she didn't receive it until after the show.
Right.
And it's kind of like, okay. And I sent it like maybe 45 minutes before, and it usually gets to her like that. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, Mercury retrograde, brace yourself. But I felt it beforehand too. I mean, when we were in the shadow, it's just like, I will bet you anything we are going into Mercury retrograde.
Well, you're so tuned into everything like that. It's really awesome that I have you as my wife, because I feel it coming on. So it's a good thing. But and again, with our topics today, with the idea that this is the in between time of. And it could be the in-between time of success or failure. It could be the in-time of the.
I think any time is the in-between time between success and failure.
I guess that could be true,
hold
right?
On, everybody.
Hold on, we're going for a ride. Hold on. It's like that roller coaster you go on that ends too soon, and then when it's actually like a roller coaster, because that space on the roller coaster when you get there, and it's kind of neutral. You haven't got to the peak yet. You're still climbing up, but can it go backwards? Yeah, because I'm going uphill. And you hear that tick, 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 tick sound. And then when you get to the top, you're like, okay, brace yourself. Here we go.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It's really interesting. But, it's been a great show. This is going to be a great topic. Lots to talk about on this one. And if you want to call in and share your in-between time, then do so. 877.
Just need to purge.
That's
Just let it go.
Just let it go. Call us and be in between. I talked to Mike, my brother, last night.
Oh, you did?
Yes, and he was sharing with, he's, of course, a great artist, and he was telling me about the hats he's making and so on. But I'm not going to get into that right now because we're on radio. But
no, come on, tell me, how's he doing?
He's doing good. My brother's an artist. So, and this is a guy,
yeah.
Mike, if you're listening, this is a guy that's in between.
Yeah, but he's cool with being in between.
He's cool with being in between, and that's what makes him cool. He's like, oh yeah, I'm in between things. Okay, But he was telling me that he's got his Christmas presents because he's drawing stuff on hats and stuff.
Right.
He's a great artist, and so he's sending those out with Mom. But when she comes, she'll have them.
Yeah. If you want to call in, give us a call here. If you want to share your in-between story, it's 877-230-3062. Again, that's 877-230-3062.
Or 425-644-5620.
Oh, that too.
Yeah, you can call that one for local if you want. Anyways, I brought him up because he says, I'm going to be listening to your show. I said, well, tomorrow's a good day to listen, bro, so you should call in.
Right.
And so, Mike, if you're listening, dial that phone. I don't know if he's listening because he's in between.
He's in between. You never know. And you can always listen to the podcast later and then call us later off air.
Hey, off air.
Okay. So anyway.
All right. So we got some housekeeping to take care of here.
Yes.
And first of all, I'm going to, promote myself.
Okay. Toot your horn.
I'm going to toot my horn. Intuitive Counseling with Cameron Steele. That's me. CameronSteele.com. Intuitive Counseling with Cameron Steele. That's CameronSteele.com. Go to my website. Check me out. Check me out. Check me out. Yeah, baby.
I see you checking me out.
Checking me out. I see that. Oh, yeah. What are you doing there? Okay. Hey,
How
come
you
on.
doing?
How you doing there? Forget about it.
Okay.
All right. Anyways, CameronSteele.com is my website. Check me out. Check out what I can do for you and help you along your way in your life because I love helping people. That's what I do. I love helping people. And if I can help you, that's going to bring me out of my in-between.
It's always joy. I mean, it's really joy when you feel like you can really help.
I do. I really feel good about that. Yeah. And of course, my beautiful wife here, Banishing the Boogeyman, a parent survival guide, helping your children through nighttime fears. My beautiful wife, my bride, my best friend, my world she's an author.
I am.
You are.
Yes.
And this is a fantastic book, Banishing the Boogeyman, a parent survival guide, helping your children through nighttime fears. It's available at Amazon.com. Just click Amazon.com. Banishing the Boogeyman, a parent survival guide. If you've got kids, grandkids, whatever, helping yourself through nighttime fears, this is a fantastic book and gives you great information and solutions on how to overcome the nighttime fears.
And you know what? It helps with daytime fears as well, because it doesn't happen just at night.
That's right.
It's just kind of fun to talk about the boogeyman at nighttime. But,
That's right.
it can happen any time of the day, any situation. And it's a very helpful book. I'm so glad that the individuals who've come and
the feedback's been
collaborated
great.
and helped me with this. I mean, it's been so successful for so many parents, for kids, and for adults.
Totally. Yeah. And, of course, we want to welcome our new sponsor. We can't go on the show without mentioning our new sponsor, It Works, and specializing in homeopathic and herbal products designed to tighten, tone, and firm.
Yeah, you know something, it's great. It's all herbal. It's a fantastic product. I would encourage you to go on the Facebook page, whether it is Love Your Business Facebook page or the Contact Talk Radio Facebook page, because there are pictures showing some of the before and afters of this product and how it works.
Oh, yeah.
It is insane.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. You need to see these pictures.
I tell you, some of these pictures that I've seen, Barb, you'd love these things. They're fantastic.
Well, it's an amazing product, and we fully support the product, the company, and we would love for you to take a look at it.
That's right. LoveYour.business. That's the website, www.loveyour.business, and that's a new domain name. For those of you that don't know, .business is a domain name. That's opposite.com. It's .business.
It's .business. That's right. And again, visit Facebook. Visit our page on Facebook, which is facebook.com/CTR Network, or is it Contact Talk Radio?
CTR Network.
CTR Network.
CTR Network.
Okay. We need to take a quick commercial break.
Right.
When we come back, we're going to be talking more about being in the in-between. Right now, we're going to have an in-between.
Did you know that you can rate our shows on iTunes? Yep, you can share your thoughts about the topics, the hosts, and the special guests. You can also leave a suggestion. Then, when you're done, rate the show. The hosts love your feedback, and others appreciate it. So next time you download a show, take a second to leave your thoughts and rate it. We all have amazing talents and knowledge that should be shared with the world. Become a host on Contact Talk Radio and help spread your insight and wisdom. Help others grow as you grow your business and reach a level of connection far greater than you could reach on your own. Take the first step and learn more by visiting contacttalkradio.com or contact Cameron at 425-221-3646. Continue to spread the word about the importance of conscious.
And I'm Lucia.
I love that song.
Isn't it a good song?
Yeah, I really do. I really have to contemplate that for a song. Yeah, I love that song, yeah.
Let's just have a moment.
It's to have a moment of that, appreciating that song.
That was good.
Oh, that's a good song. That's a good one. Write it down. Anyways, our topic today, being in the in-between. To freak out or not to freak out? That is the question. Should I freak out or shouldn't I freak out? What am I going to do?
It's so easy to freak out. I mean, at least for me. I mean, maybe for other people, like, oh no, everything's, copacetic. But I'm just like, no, I want to freak out. I either want to run and torch something, or I'm going to send a really nasty email and like not realize it was nasty until I was sent it.
Yeah.
Like, oopsie.
I've been on the end of both of those emails. I've been on the ones of nasty emails, and I'm sitting there going, why are they freaking out? What is there to freak out about? What the heck is going on? Did I just move into the Twilight Zone and they're freaking out for something?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, right. It's the Twilight Zone. It's the neutral zone. I've seen, and I've been at the other end of emails where I've sent an email because I've freaked out.
And I've always told you, let me edit your emails before they go out.
Yeah. Well, We both have to do that now, but I've sent emails where I've freaked out, and of course, it comes back to me saying, "No, you're wrong." Oh, okay.
Oops, my bad.
My bad. I'm
I
sorry.
didn't read that completely.
I freaked out.
I missed the not in that sentence.
That's right. Not to freak out. I'm sorry about that. So this is something that I think everybody can identify with. We've all been there, waiting for the call, the email, the letter in the mail, waiting for the next move in business or relationships.
And those in between times when you're thinking, oh, he's called me, or she's not called me yet, or should I call her, or should I call him? And having those moments of that feeling of anxiety, and there's the anxiety excitement.
Yeah.
And then there's the anxiety and like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. I've got the letter it's supposed to be coming in the mail.
Yeah.
I don't know when it's going to come. And you're checking the mailbox every single 5 minutes.
See, I'm looking for that check.
The check in the mail. the checks in the mail.
The checks in the mail. Oh, yeah, okay,
You're going to be
great.
waiting a long time, buddy.
But it's funny because I have been in those shoes of saying, if somebody telling me, the check's in the mail. Okay, great. When did you mail it? About a week ago. Okay, well, that's good. It's going to be here any time. And it's that any time in between that I'm waiting, and I go down, check the mail, it's not there. Oh, my God. Go down, check the mail the next day, it's not there. Oh, my God. Go down, check the mail. And finally, I go, you know what? It'll come when it comes. And then when I say that, of course, what happens? It shows up.
When you usually take a nap, it shows up.
Yeah.
And that actually tells you something. That's actually really poetic because it's like, how do we deal with those in-between times? Those times that we're in stress. We've got emails going back and forth between teachers for me right now. Whether or not, to pursue a business career, or path, whether or not to give your notice to your boss, whether or not to move forward in the relationship or actually to discontinue a relationship. In that in-between time, there's such angst waiting for the doctor to give you a result.
Gosh. Yeah.
I mean, that angst that happens in the in-between times, like, how do we take care of ourselves?
It's a challenge, Lucia, because you are, for me at least, I'll sit there and I'm waiting, and if something doesn't happen for me right away, I'm like, okay, come on. And what I've done is I've learned to really let go of that angst and of that anticipation or of that frustration of something not happening when I need it to happen. Mm-hmm. Actually, Lucia is very right, folks. I actually will go and just take a little nap, or I'll maybe go for a walk or go see an afternoon movie just to get myself out of that reality and into something else.
Oh, yeah.
Because ultimately, at the end of the day, if I'm going down checking the mailbox, it only comes once a day. But why am I going to the mailbox after it's come? Oh, just in case. Maybe I missed it.
When you already pulled the mail
When
out.
I already pulled the mail out.
That's the challenging part. It's like, what do you do in the in-between time and that you're just freaking out? I mean, last night, I had to deal with some emails between me and, teachers and I couldn't do anything about it. I mean, I just could not do anything about it. And all I could do is wait for a response. I only sent 2 sentences asking, is this what you're saying? And is this what we're doing? Just to make sure I was clear on the path ahead. And during that time when I sent the email, all I could do is I was fidgeting. I was anxious. I was getting angry at, our son. I was getting angry at the teacher, and I didn't feel like I needed to be angry at the teacher. I knew I didn't need to necessarily be angry at anybody.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, what the heck can I do? Because all I wanted to do was wake Jake up and what are you doing? I wanted to nag him, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And none of that was going to be productive. Nothing was. The only thing that was going to be productive was for me to go to bed because it was late and just let it go until the next morning.
Yeah.
And so, it's an interesting process because for me, I like to control things. And I don't know about anybody else out there, but, I do like to control things. I like to be able to have the last say. And this is really hard for me to admit, but it's true. I like to have the last say. I like to be right. And, don't judge me.
Just don't judge.
Don't judge me.
I'm not judging.
But I do. And so with going forward on this, when I put my head down and I realized what I needed to do is I needed to let it go. And I needed to just have a prayer and say, God, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm really frustrated, and I need to hand this over to you because I can't do anything about this. I have no control now in this situation. So please. And it was amazing because I was able to fall asleep so quickly when I spoke those words in my heart, and I was able to finally just fall asleep. And the next morning I did wake up with I'm like, you know what? I know what I need to do right now. And regardless of what the outcome is on the other side of it, I know that I have taken every step that I needed to take to champion for our kid, as well as help him take accountability for whatever the situation is as well. So I feel like, okay, so I woke up to an email, and the email was what I kind of anticipated seeing, and then I was able to respond to it in the way that I was able to that I felt was really gifted to me in my sleep. And again, regardless, right now it's out there in the ethers, and whatever the response is, it's going to be the response.
Well, you're in the in-between time of this stuff
right now. I'm in the in-between. I don't know what's going to be said on the other side. I don't know and I can feel like a little bit of anxiety, but I also know in my heart I have done everything I can do, and I was respectful, and I was caring, and I was in the place of mother, handling a situation for their kid. Right. So, looking at that, the idea was, like you're waiting. It was to sleep. That was that's like the key thing. It was okay to sleep. Well,
this is we kind of talked about this last night about the in between time and what we were doing, and in that process, I recognize now that what we were doing last night was talking about what this email should be about and how it's written and the the different scenarios that take place, and I was getting tired, and I said, what, let's just go to sleep, because I knew in the moment that talking about this for another 2 hours isn't going to help the situation at all. So we just need to go to bed, go to sleep, wake up with a fresh perspective in the morning,
right,
and decide how to go from there. And I think that this kind of applies to anything that you're doing when you're in that in between time. It's like you could sit and let's say, for instance, you're waiting on a business loan or something like that. You've filled all of the paperwork, you've done all the things that you need to do.
Now it's out of your hands.
It's out of your hands. So the best thing to do is just go to sleep. Or whatever.
Or whatever.
But go to sleep from the perspective of a metaphor. Just go to sleep, or go about your day doing what you're doing. Not think about it, because at the end of the day, if it comes through or not comes through for you, it is out of your hands, and you're only stagnating your life that day, waiting for that phone call.
Right.
And that's not healthy for you. This is not healthy, folks. The in-between time is not a bad thing.
No.
But how you deal with it.
There's a big growth period within that in-between time.
Right. But what's not healthy is sitting there not doing anything and just sitting by the phone or the mailbox or waiting for your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your wife or your husband to call. You cannot stop your life for one day just because you're waiting on something, or maybe your employment, maybe you applied for a job and you're in the top 3. You can't stop living. And this is important to remember, because at the end of the day, if you were stopped living your life just to wait a phone call, what does that say about what you're doing in your life and how you're treating yourself?
It is a form of torture, self-torture.
It really is.
It really is. And in that case, I mean, you have an opportunity to grow within that in-between time. Right. And that growth process, I mean, could be, could look like anything, basically. If we're waiting for the call from the doctor, if we're waiting for a letter from a university that we're wanting to go to, or a school that we're wanting to continue our education, whether it's we're waiting for the death of a loved one, the birth of a loved one, you've had arguments with family members, and you're wanting to push the river, and I want to get this resolved right now, and there's some personalities that when they cross over like that, it's just going to create more tension and more situation. If you're wanting to get everything taken care of and wrapped up and cleaned up right this very second, versus giving it the time and the space that it requires in order for things to heal or get new perspective.
Well, you mentioned the death thing, and I think that's a big one for a lot of people, because you have a loved one that's in a hospice, and they're or you've been looking after them for a long time, and at the end of the day, all the care that you're taking in looking after them, they are essentially on their way out of this life, and I've known people that have just dropped their life to look after the loved one because they're on their way out, and the expectation is, yes, you're going to die, and I'm going to make it easy for you to leave. And that's kind of the in-between time, because you can't do anything with your life because you're so focused on their life, which is, what has to be done. But at the same time, I think that, when it comes to that aspect of things, you cannot be in a place of what's next for me while you're looking after the person. You have to just be in the moment of that. So there's an in-between time of that, but how you deal with it in nurturing them and nurturing yourself is you have to find the balance in that.
Okay, let's hold that thought because we need to take a quick commercial break. Okay. And we're going to have another in between. So we are taking a break, and we will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Sounds good.
Have you taken the time to visit our Facebook page and like us? If you're saying no, it's time to change that answer. What's great about Contact Talk Radio's Facebook page is the fact that so many people are contributing helpful information to it. Not only does the staff at Contact Talk Radio update the page throughout the day, but so do our hosts. You'll know when shows are live and what the show's topic is. If a host is doing readings, you'll know when to call in and what number to use. Or maybe one of our hosts just wants to share some words of wisdom or a picture to brighten your day. You won't know what's waiting for you unless you visit our page. Go to facebook.com/CTR Network and like us. That's facebook.com/CTR Network. Happy Facebooking! Did you know that you can rate our shows on iTunes? Yep, you can share your thoughts about the topics, the hosts, and the special guests. You can also leave a suggestion. Then, when you're done, rate the show. The hosts love your feedback, and others appreciate it. So next time you download a show, take a second to leave your thoughts and rate it.
Right here on the Contact Talk Radio Network, ctrnetwork.com, and just if you want to, you can click on the Listen Live. Visit our website as often as you can for any upcoming shows and events and any changes we're making. Go to CameronandLucia.com. That's CameronandLucia.com to find out more information. And if you missed any part of this show today, you can go to our website, sign up for the podcast, and get a free script, clearing script, to help clear those blocks and remove any old thoughts or emotions that you might have that you're still hanging on to, because that's part of the in-between. And our topic today, of course, is being in the in-between, to freak out or not to freak out. That is the question. And if you're asking yourself right now whether you should freak out or not freak out, I can't answer that for you without talking to you, so call in.
Yeah, for sure. Give us a call. 877-230-3062.
That's right.
And, it's funny because, there are a lot of different things that we can do. And so many times we forget about those things to do when we're in that in-between time, because we're so we're on, chomping our nails, sitting on the edge of our seats.
Well, this is a perfect segue. You just opened the door up because, the kids are home at school today. You're in the in-between.
Yeah.
Right? You're in between. Well, we kind of both are, because we're kind of waiting for this response with the stuff that we talked about in the first segment, or the second segment, rather. And so I go to do some errands this morning, and I said, yeah, happy President's Day. Well, it's not President's Day today. So when you say about you're forgetting certain things or you're missing things because you're in that in-between time, it's a true story. Yeah, we thought it was President's Day today, and it's actually not. It's February 16th.
Oh, you know what? And then I realized it's actually just a teacher thing.
Teacher thing today.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I said, why are the kids home to school today?
It's got to be a holiday.
It's got to be a holiday. Is it President's Day? Of course not. It's February 16th. It's President's Day. But it's a prime example of when we're in that in-between time where our focus goes. We tend to forget all other things that are going on, and that's where the freak out comes in. Well,
yeah, when you have such a high focus on one aspect of your life, and I mean, it really is a narrow aspect of your life when you look at, okay, this is about business.
Yeah.
Well, you can't just say it's just about business, because business is an important part because it helps you earn money to live your life and to be secure and get your food, clothe you, shelter you, all of those things. So it seems humongous at the time. But then you have all these other aspects there. You've got your health to think about. You've got your relationships to think about. You've got, just family to think about. You've got so many different things that really could be nurturing and being handled during this time, but your mind is so fixated on that in between on whatever the topic is.
Yeah, exactly.
And that in itself, that whole narrow focus can be really damaging to your soul, just to your overall health, because that keeping yourself in that place of stress or anxiety is not a healthy place for your body to reside in for any length of time. I mean, we all have to go through it at some point, but to have it for any length of time it can be really detrimental to your health. And so when we're looking at this and we're in those in-between times and we're forgetting, oh my gosh, I've got all these amazing tools that I've learned and I'm not using one of them because I just can't even think about it because I'm so fixated.
Yeah.
And those are the times, it's good to have your list, have your list around and say, okay, what are the things I can do? And, like for me last night, it was just like, I'm so tired. I just have to sleep. Well, when I went to sleep, I usually have a nice conversation with God before I drift off. And I did that. One of the things that is very important is talking to your higher power,
whatever
talking
you
to
believe,
God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, and being able just to kind of let it go, because those things, the first question you ask yourself, can I control this? Is there something in this that I can control, that I have some form of authority to be able to move forward in this that I have not played yet? That I have not put into effect yet? And if the answer is no on that, and you have no control of the situation, the answer is always going to be, let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go, because there's not anything that you can do right now. No. So in that letting go period, what do? Do you sit on your hands, chomp your fingernails? What is it that you're going to be doing? No. What you want to do is you want to have that conversation with your higher power. You want to have that list of things that are going to help you. Exercise. Exercise is so important because it does help you move that energy and help you release the tensions that really contract your muscles, that contract your soul. And it does allow you for that opportunity to gain new perspectives during that time of transition and during that time of in between. Also, being able to just have a walk, even if it's not exercise, but you're having a walk in nature, taking in some fresh air, going for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and just allowing for that time to give you that fresh perspective.
Yeah.
Journaling. Journaling is another fantastic way to just allow your mind to go. And I have to admit, some of my journal pages just have fuck written into them. Excuse me, and sorry for delicate ears. But, it's, some pages have like 5 rows of fuck, and that's it, because I can't think of anything else because I'm so frustrated.
Right.
And then finally, I allow it to go forever, however long it needs to, and then all of a sudden words start to flow out. Allow yourself. Don't censor yourself. Or give yourself that opportunity in your writing to just flow it out and give yourself the words that you really need to express, that beyond the expletives.
Yeah.
In order to really release the tension.
Well, this is very true. In fact, even when I'm talking to people, any of my clients, when it comes to the coaching piece, I get into this piece, and I love that you brought that up, is the writing and journaling. When you're in a process of whether you should freak out or not freak out, you're holding on to ideas in your head. You're holding on to what ifs in your head. So if you're waiting for something to happen, it's what if this doesn't happen, or what if I get it? What am I going to do? What if they turn me down? What if the date doesn't? What if my second date doesn't call me back after I've texted them a dozen times? What if, so all these what ifs are going on, and I always recommend to people, particularly what Lucia said was, write things down. It doesn't matter what the words are, but as long as you write something down and start writing down, it's going to make a difference, and eventually something will hit you. Something will hit you, and you'll go, oh. Then you can start writing down your thoughts and feelings, and you're releasing those thoughts, which allows whatever it is that you're waiting for, or the what if, or that thing on the other side of the in-between of the action that's going to take place, you're allowing yourself to not hang on to something. You're allowing yourself to just be free and write. You brought up the exercise. Some people don't write. Go for a walk. Go for a walk in the woods. Go for a walk on the street. Go for a walk around the grocery store. It doesn't take much. This is a big thing, what Lucia's talking about here. The faith thing for sure. Writing, journaling, excellent way of getting it out. Exercising, absolutely, unequivocally. Exercising is definitely about releasing. And if you're not a person that exercises, don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Just go for a walk. It doesn't even have to be 2 blocks. You
do some yoga in your house.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter what it is, because if you're in that in-between time, stretch, stretch, or do something that's going to occupy your mind and take you away from something that you're waiting for.
Yeah, don't complicate it, because it can be just as much as doing jumping jacks in your living room and doing some push-ups. I have to do girly push-ups, doing push-ups, anything. I remember when I was selling real estate, and I had a challenge with one of my clients, and he actually threatened me, and I had to still maintain a sense of composure in the conversation. And there was an in-between time of hanging up on the conversation and being able to speak with my boss to be able to handle the situation. So during that time, I could have either burst out into tears because he scared me at the time, or I could have, I could have gone after him verbally, which would have been not productive and very bad for my company. Sure. Or I could have done a number of different things. Journaling wasn't on the roster at that moment. So what I did was I went into the bathroom, locked the door, and I started doing jumping jacks and running in place to help me disperse the energy tension that I was having in my body before I was able to talk to my boss. And it helped out tremendously. Like I say, don't complicate it. It could be something as easy as, doing, getting on the floor of your living room and stretching, or to do some running in place and, pretend you have a jump rope, anything like that. It can be so simple, or it could be get your shoes on and get out the door.
And, and along the same lines, when I mentioned the topic, of course, being in the in-between is our topic. So if you just joined with us, it's all about that, to freak out or not freak out. That is the question. And, I can hear somebody saying, well, what's wrong with freaking out? Absolutely nothing. If you feel like you need to freak out, then freak out. Because again, this is about self-nurturing of the in-between. And if freaking out means that's going to nurture your soul, I can tell you.
But there's a caveat to that, because go ahead and freak out so long as you're not inflicting your crap on other people.
Well, that's right.
Unnecessarily.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to find the balance of the freak out. You could listen to the song, Freak Out. Dance.
Le Freak. That would have been Le Freak.
The Freak. Freak out. And, I just thought of that. It was funny. But the thing is that, I can tell you, I have had my freakouts, and I probably will have more freakouts.
And I do have to say, there are times when somebody does need to hear a harsh tone from you. Yeah. Or needs to be able to.
I don't like those though. Those are hard.
But there are times that it does need to happen. Well, situationally.
I don't need it to happen.
Whatever.
Just the thought of that is so. It makes me feel freaky. I feel like I'm going to freak out just at the thought of it.
Well, you actually have had your own freakouts on people.
Yes, I have.
We've had a situation to where we've had an individual who was throwing judgments your way about family and everything.
Oh,
and you were able to put her in her place.
I did,
because she was out of line.
Yes,
she had a freak out on you. You were able to have a freak out on her.
Yeah.
And you put her in her, and you did put her in her place because she was out of line.
She was, yeah.
Regardless if we can say, well, she was out of line from our perspective. Yeah, she was. But when she heard what you had to say, she recognized she needed to stop and back off and stop her her tirade.
Right.
So there are times when force has to be met with force, and that's just part of nature and how individual dynamics work towards one another.
Yeah.
But that's not always the way you want to handle things. No. Absolutely not. No. So sometimes a freak out is necessary. I mean, for me, I was looking at the punching bag going, maybe I need to put the boxing gloves on and just box it out because I really want to slap somebody across the face.
And we have a punching bag.
We do have a punching bag. So, so I look at the fact of going, what kind of energy do I need to expel? Do I need to just stretch or do I need to box it out?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I come from. But there are so many other ways to handle it too. I mean, having a support system. I mean, do you have somebody that you can talk to? Do you have a friend? Do you have a spouse? Do you have a counselor that you can talk to that you can just like bounce things off of and say, this is what I'm going through and this is where I'm at. And I just needed to say it and release it and just allow for myself to really admit to it and own where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something can be so healing about just voicing what's happening and being able to call it out and name it and just
let it go.
And just let it go.
Yeah.
I mean, and I wanted to say there is a difference between calling it out and naming it and letting it go versus bending your friend's ear too long and talking about it every single time you guys get together.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, I mean, you want to be watchful of that. You want to be mindful of that, not watchful, but really mindful of that because, you have a support system, a confidant or a counselor. And if you're in that place of every time you meet, it's the same thing over and over again, it can be a little bit trying for the person listening.
Well, I had a girlfriend who she and I had an agreement that we were not allowed to bring up a problem more than 3 times unless there was new developments.
Right.
So
is there any new developments? No, then shut up and don't talk to me about it.
Because it's trying on the relationship. Where can the relationship go if it's nothing but a bitch session?
Yeah.
It's just talking about and validating a person's feelings. Oh, I still feel this way. It's like, well, you felt that way last week. What have you done in order to take steps? Well, I haven't done anything. Well, okay, well then we don't need to be talking about this. Let's go have some fun.
Yeah.
Well,
that's right.
Or let's go do what we said we were going to go do. But there is a way to be able to share in a healthy way that's not too imposing on your friends. I mean, friends are there to be there for you as well as you're there for them. But to take advantage of it, you want to make sure that you're not taking advantage of a good situation and a good friend.
Right. And that's the thing. So, again, to freak out or not freak out, that's the question. That's the question that you'll have to answer for yourself, because ultimately, if you do need to freak out, because that's going to help release the energy of what's going on, then absolutely do it. And if you don't need to freak out, then, I mean, at the end of the day, if it was my choice to freak out or not freak out, I'd rather not freak out and I'd rather deal with it. Because in the end game of a freak out or a not freaking out allows me to grow in a way that I am in control of.
Right.
You have a freak out, you might break something. I mean.
And is that bad?
Well, depends what you break, I guess. You
don't want to break a relationship. You don't want to speak too soon within a situation. Like if you no longer have control, and then all of a sudden you want to say something else. Right. It's time. That's a time you want to find your duct tape and tape yourself up. Find a good friend saying just tape my mouth or tape my fingers together so I don't type that email or pick up the phone or whatever it is, because sometimes it is just a matter of you needing to be patient and waiting and allowing for that space to be there.
And, we talk about perceptions of things. The other day we were talking about perceptions, actually last night. And, people can freak out over something that actually isn't there.
Oh yeah,
it could be the in between. Like for instance, if an example would be, we have on our phones, folks, we have this Life 360 where we can keep track of our kids, and we also are able to keep safe and know where each others are. I go and my phone's off for an hour, or it's I'm somewhere I haven't checked in for an hour. Usually I do, and the habit is to set this up properly. If I'm going somewhere, I always check in with Lucia, let her know this is where I'm at, this is what I'm doing. I'll see you in a little while, blah, 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 blah. And she's all good because she knows. And I do the same. And she does the same. Yeah. So it's just, knowing that we're not to keep track of each other, but to make sure that each other is safe and there's nothing happened. Things happen. And so I think it was a time where I wasn't in touch with her for an hour and a half or something like that. And I hadn't checked in. I was on the phone. I was on the phone in the parking lot because I was gone somewhere. I forget what it was, but it was something along those lines. But the idea is that Lucia she could have freaked out, but she didn't because she knew that I was kind of safe somewhere and everything was fine. My point being is that in that moment of not knowing, you could freak out over something that you don't need to freak out about. Well, you see what I'm saying? I think I'm explaining the story in a kind of backwards way, but
well, let's get really specific with this in the short amount of time that we have. Okay.
All right.
So this Live 360, it's a fantastic application that we use to keep track of Jaden, so that way we know where he's at, and it helps us kind of keep track of each other too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I know it's going to take him 10 more minutes to get here, so timing wise and coordinating. Okay, fine. So Christmas time, I'm looking. Actually, I texted you. I texted Cam. And so what happened was I didn't hear back. So I'm figuring, okay, well, he must be on the phone. So I called him because the boys really wanted to have dinner with you, and we were out. Well, because I didn't. I'm joking. Sorry. So the boys really want to have dinner with you, and I did too. And so I call you up, and the phone goes immediately to voicemail. I figured, oh, you're on the phone. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
No big deal. So I'm like, text, are you on the phone? We'd love to have dinner with you.
Yeah.
Never heard back from you, and that's okay until we were finished with dinner. And then I saw that you had left the house.
Yeah.
I'm like, right. I wonder where you're going.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe he's going to be close by. And then I see that you went to a location that I'm like, what is he doing there? That's kind of strange.
Yeah.
And then I see the destination that you had gotten back home. And I'm thinking, this is kind of weird. And why is he not calling me if he's in this area and all this? And so I had the opportunity to start going, why? Why this? Why that? What happened here? What's going on? And then I could have gotten really, I could have gotten my panties all in a bunch, right? Yeah. But the fact is I just need to talk to him, and we needed to. What happened was I could have jumped to conclusions.
Yeah.
Or we could have just recalibrated our GPS, which is exactly what needed to happen.
Yeah.
So I could have had a moment of freak out on him going, well, why was this? What were you doing there? And been the big mouth fishwife and nagged you about it, which that's not who I am.
Right.
Or I could have said, what's going on with our GPS? Because I said, what were you doing over at Lowe's? Well, I was never there.
Yeah.
Well, it said that you were there. We'll see over here. And so we were able to take care of this, and it was a matter of something very simple. So in that in-between time that I had no idea what was going on, but I saw some activity happening, I could have jumped to so many conclusions.
That's right.
And then it just boiled down to us needing to synchronize our GPS again because it had not been synchronized properly.
It wasn't working properly.
So, these are those opportunities of going, well, I could have not been trusting of you, but I have no reason not to be trusting of you. And I could have jumped to all these, but it was a strange situation.
Well,
what happened?
What happened? Weird. Yeah, it was weird. But my point of bringing that up is because in that in-between time, our minds can go places.
It's the what if.
Yeah.
And the what if it can be the ultimate stress producer. Mm-hmm. What if he's doing this? What if she's doing that? What if I get fired? What if I get promoted? What if I do this? The what ifs are what cause the main source of anxiety and tension in our lives. And the fact is, who cares what if right now? Because basically, if you set your life up in the way of God, give me this or something better.
Yeah.
Give me what I ask for or something better, knowing that whatever may come is going to be for your best interest, and recognize it's going to be for your ultimate growth. And if you can rest within that, knowing you don't have any control except for the opportunity to rest within the faith of going, I'm moving forward in my life, and I'm going to move forward in the most positive way possible.
Yeah.
So, going back to our list, I mean, how to nurture yourself in between those, in the in-between times. bless you, Barb, in those in-between times, faith, giving it up to God. When you have no control, give it up to God. Just allow yourself to surrender the aspect of control. And that may in itself can be a huge growth potential in that. Because if you've never done it and then you're starting to do it, it's going to feel uncomfortable, but eventually it will start to be natural and recognize, I can't think about this anymore. I'm choosing not to think about this anymore because I know that ultimately my higher power has got my back. Yeah. And then the other piece, writing or journaling. That is another great technique to be able just to get it off your chest, to get it off your mind and allow for it. And maybe you don't want anybody to see it. Then burn it afterwards if you don't want anybody to see your thoughts. Because I've had people read my journal. It doesn't feel good. So unless you give them permission. So if you
wasn't me.
It wasn't you. So, if you want to write it down, but you don't want anybody to see it, write it down, burn that sucker afterwards. Yeah. Then there's exercising. We talked about that too. Putting your shoes on, head out the door. Maybe that's not the key. Do some jumping jacks in your living room. Do them at your cube if you're sitting over at work and everybody else maybe saying, "Hey, Sally, what are you doing?" "Hey, I'm doing jumping jacks because I'm about to
freak out.
Because I'm about to freak out, so leave me alone." But and then there's also your support systems. Do you have a confidant? Do you have a counselor? Who do you have to talk to? I mean, there are all these different pieces. And then there's one thing that we actually didn't talk about, which is allowing and parenting yourself. Yeah. And parenting yourself really is the same thing that you would do as if you were talking to your child. Right. Or the same thing that you would do as if you were talking to your pet. It's freaking out. It's got all these emotions in there. And being able to have that calm, soothing conversation and that balm of love and self-compassion in order to be able to really handle that time on the in-between. That time in the in-between, as an adult, that it is such a challenging time and such a it can be a heart-wrenching time or just a stressful time. Being that parent to yourself and having that conversation and just saying, you know what, Sally, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to feel this way and it's all right. And there's nothing we can do about it. So come on, let's go do something else and fill our time.
And that's such an important thing. I think of all the things that we've listed on the self-nurturing for the in-between, I think allowing and self-parenting is probably for me at the top of the list, because when I am in a place of the in-between, waiting for something, or, I'm waiting for a client to call or waiting for whatever, Jaden to get home or whatever, I have to actually talk to myself and say, okay, it's all right, just hang out and just do something else, maybe go catch a movie or go for a walk. I actually self-parent myself more often than not, because it allows me to forget about the situation and not to forget about the situation, but to let go of the situation so I can come at it with a newer perspective.
And also with self-compassion. Well, and it's not just self-compassion, it's compassion for the other side as well. But it really starts with compassion for yourself. We have actually run out of time.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
It is.
It's
really
crazy time.
It's crazy time. We're going to freak out.
Freak out. Don't freak out. Freak out. Don't freak out. It's up to you. Well, listen, thank you for joining us today. Hey, listen, stay tuned. Coming up next right here on the Contact Talk Radio Network. Fantastic show. Fantastic lady. Patricia Brooks. She's doing Introducing My Healing Rooms on Spiritual Lens.
Nice.
So,
Okay, we are out of here. So everybody have a fantastic day, and we'll talk with you again next week.
You've been listening to Begin Again with Cameron Steele and Lucia Davindia Steele. Tune in live every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time or subscribe to their podcast at www.cameronandlucia.com. That's www.cameronandlucia.com. Remember, giving up in life is not an option, and begin